today we're going to have a look at the XS. This is the XS 14, so that's 14 meters or 44 feet. Basically, a House of Benetto's, Benetto's Catamaran. Yachting World did a sea trial last year or the year before on the smaller one. We're going to have a look at this one. There will be another video sometime to do a factory visit and hopefully what the French call an essai sur mer, so a sail test for us. That'll be sometime in the spring. Let's go and have a look, shall we? To understand, I suppose, the concept with, as we step onto the sugar scoop, the concept of Benetto for their XS range. You can see you have a good view down there. This really is a catamaran, so if you're coming from a monohull and you like the experience of sailing and you're a proper sailor like we are, one of the XS guys getting out of the way, this is your bridge, this is your crossover to catamaran sailing. So like the Nautitec, you have twin aft helms, obviously both port and starboard. They're direct steering, carbon style wheels. They've set this up, which I think is absolutely brilliant, like you have on the Neil. So when we have a look in the engine compartment over on the starboard side, you'll see that it's all linked up with Dyneema, which is absolutely brilliant. So if you have any problems, you can then just change out your Dyneema line and have access to your rudder. So port helm, you have a large Garmin chart plotter. You can have repeaters and autopilot on here if you wish. We'll be doing a video at Dusseldorf. Garmin actually have a new range of large touchscreen screens that will be coming soon, and a handhold here, and both port and starboard you have electronic throttle controls. Your shore power connection and a hot cold fresh water shower. What we're going to do is go straight over to the starboard side. You can see your furler for your Genoa lines are just here. Over as we walk through to the starboard side, you'll see an absolutely huge bench seat here aft. They've got the canopy on for the boat show, which is really nice. So you can close the entire, I'll give you a pano round as we're going through. You can enclose the entire cockpit if you want, or just have sunshades down. There's your saloon. It's absolutely enormous. I like the XS, you know, people either love them or hate them. I actually like them. They've changed from the ones Yachting World did. They've actually changed the way the seats are. So you actually now have a solid composite seat. There's enough room for two on there easily, and your handling, so they've set it up so that your starboard helm is the main helm, if you want to look at it that way. And you have electric controls for your aft traveller, so for your mainsail traveller, which is nice. Dinghy davits, and then I'll show you how easy this seat is to lift up on gas struts. That will go, if you take the cushion off, it will go all the way up. And before we do the starboard helm, I'll show you the engine compartment. As standard, these come with 45 horsepower Yamaha engines. This one has been upgraded to 57 horsepower. You know, for a 44-foot Cat, 2 57s is ample. I'd go for the upgrade. A little bit more power. As you can see, you've got your saltwater filters and other bits and pieces over here, and your main electric switches. Just here, you'll be able to see the dyneema for the steering, and then to the steering rods, and your power steering motor is down over there somewhere. Plenty of room. Plenty of space to do bits and pieces, so that's good. Right, sat at the starboard helm. This is my view, so you can see the bow, starboard. There's a slight blank spot in the middle for the hard top screen there, but otherwise you can see all the way through. You can even see forward. Camera won't show it as well, but you can see the port side, which is unusual for a catamaran. And obviously you've got full view for med mooring aft. This is your principal helm. So as you can see, you've got your Yamaha engine start-stop, engine counters, chain counter over here, which is absolutely brilliant. And once again, another electronic throttle control for those Yamahas. Chart plotter, Garmin, once again, I would quite like wind instruments, repeaters, you know, and a separate autopilot control, but that's just my preference. And then you have your main primary winches. So we'll go through them a little bit. These have been done in English, so that'll be easier for you guys. Obviously, as you can see, main sheet, reef 1, 2, 3. There's your main halyard, topping lift, jib sheets, port and starboard, and for your furler. So they're set up with a Harken 2-speed 50 self-tailing winch and a Harken 50 manual winch, and a nice bin for your tail ends. I won't go back over to the port helm, but your emergency steering is here, and before the steps you have a port light, opening port light that goes into your aft cabin. Going forward on this boat, you'll see part of your hard top, you've got a main stainless steel pole which acts as a grab handle too, and on the helm you have another grab handle to go forward. And even before you're up the steps, up on the hard top, there's another grab handle, so everything's nice and safe. Flush hatches, banker clutch, you've got your deck hardware, and runs up through and comes up the top here for your, it's marked as jib sheets, but it's actually Genoa. So no self-tacker on this, which is absolutely brilliant. Something I like about the XS, I know how you guys are with catamarans on this channel, but you know, we're all sailors, is see how low that boom is. So you're sorting out your mainsail and putting it back in the lazy bag is easy. Unlike the Lagoon we delivered earlier this year, Lagoon 51 with a flybridge. If you haven't seen that video, I'll leave a link just here. Excuse the finger. Coming all the way forward, obviously flush hatches. There's your traveller for your head sail. Forward cabin will be in there, and we'll have a look in there in a second. I'm going to open the one on the port side, not this one, but you have a large forward locker on here for fenders, sail bags and so on. and obviously your dolphin seats forward. There is a small bowsprit forward for a code D, code 0, and obviously your furler here. Someone's actually brought a nice anchor for a change. The channel on this, if some of you know the history, years and years ago, Lagoon used to be part of Beneteau, but now it's its own separate entity. So as you can see, you've got your chain channel, and then it comes up to a hardened nylon block all the way through to your Lumar windlass. Starboard forward locker, you have an option for extra water tanks or diesel, plus you can have your diesel generator in here. You can see, even though they've been moosed up down there in the corner, the services or the through holes are all ready to take piping and servicing. Absolutely huge locker. Your chain locker is directly below the windlass, and I'll open the other hatch in a minute. And then your port side locker, your water tank is on the port side locker, and you see easier access for the chain there. As I said, you can have another water tank put over on the other side. There's the control for your windlass, spare handle in case the electrics bugger up, and obviously valves for seawater, fresh water, if you want to flush stuff down, or obviously take fresh water back, you know, for your showers and so forth. Forward porthole, this is what I wanted to show you. I'm not going to get in there. With this one, if you choose the option, you see you've got a infused foam floor. The hull there is sandwich balsa, but this can actually be a skipper's cabin if you wish. Have a small bed, and apparently they can put a separate shower for you. Give you a look aft from the porthole. So it's quite sporty. She has chimed hulls, a bit like the Nautitec. So they're a lot finer, more refined hull below the waterline, and then to give you that space above the waterline, the hull actually bulks out. Getting up on to the roof or cabin top, it's very, very easy. There are a couple of steps up. It's all non-slip, but as you can see, actually getting into your sail bag, let's just turn the camera around a sec. So lazy bag, getting into your sail bag is really easy. And there is an option, you'll see the cutouts up here on the roof for a sky lounge. So basically sunk into the roof. It's a seating area for about 6 to 8, so it's not a proper fly bridge, but when you're at anchor or in the marina or wherever you are, you can move the boom to one side, lock it off, and then on the other side you have a sky lounge. See how easy it is. Yeah, you know, be a nice option if you're, you know, wherever you are, somewhere nice in the Med. So up here, that sky lounge would be sort of up in this section, or if you wish, you've got all this real estate for solar panels. Stick 1,000, 1,500 watts of solar panels up there, and they've said that there is an option, if you choose it, on the digging davits to have 600 watts of solar on the davits. So you can become pretty much self-sufficient if you wish. Beneath that aft cockpit seat, you have a large locker. for storage. So, and you know, you'd get dive bottles in here, but they'd have to be lying down. But it's an ideal place for, you know, all your lines, fishing rods and other bits and pieces. On the port side, there's a really nice, you know, eating table. Easily for, you know, 6, and there is an option, like a lot of these catamarans, you can have a drop down table, so it'll drop down. They also have these arms that pull out, and there's a piece that pops onto here, so you know, you can extend it and use this bench, which I think is pretty cool. There is a locker lazarette underneath, and one over here on the chaise longue sort of thing. It's quite nice. You know, as you can see, they've got their rosé stored in there. You can have an ice maker in here if you wish. I actually think it would be quite nice if you're off cruising, have an area, an extra sink put in here, and you've got an area for cleaning off your fish and stuff like that if you're fishing. I'll give you a pano of this aft cockpit. It's very spacious. There's about as much room on this 44 as there was on the 51 Lagoon I delivered. So to give you an idea, I actually think space-wise, exterior space-wise, is better value for money. The only difference is the Lagoon obviously has a flybridge. But if you have the Sky Lounge option, you're not having to worry about packing your sail away, and you have somewhere nice to sit, you know, when you're at anchor. Port side is the galley, so pretty standard really for catamaran. Coring worktop, dual stainless steel sink, hot and cold water. There is an area over here. Apparently normally, you know, people choose the option, have a microwave there. As you can see, there's a mains plug, and you have 2 more mains plugs here. 3 burner gas stove. If you have plenty of solar, obviously you can have a nice induction stove. I quite like, it's different, but I quite like, you know, the little detail. Being a catamaran, plenty of cupboard space, plenty of drawers. You know, I'm quite fanatical about storage, but if you're putting your money into a boat, you want to know you can take everything you wish with you. There's a gas oven and plenty of workspace. A nice opening hatch by the cooker. These are all inward opening. You'll see as we go around the saloon here. Really nice big windows. Obviously this is your navigation area, pilot station. It's a little bit small, but it's a 44 footer, so you know, what do you expect? That's pretty cool. There's a slide out area to put paperwork and stuff like that in, and obviously if you're sat at the chair and you've got your laptop or whatever, you're not having to lean over or put another chair in, and there is a mains plug and USB chargers. Actually, I think that is quite neat. Instead of having something that flips up and you're always having to move your stuff, and that's quite a nice option. There's 12 volt DC. You know, this stuff is all pretty explanatory. Nice stand for an iPad, compass, VHF, and Garmin autopilot remote, which is pretty handy. Forward, there are 2 opening hatches, and as I said, they're inwards opening. I don't know how that will work actually with leaks. If you get a lot of water over, you'd hope that they're well sealed. I'll have to find out. Centrally, you have a table that this will fold over. As you can see, it's been set up. I don't know why they've done it like that. Let's see if we can fold this over. So it folds in half. Not very pretty. but functional, and obviously it drops down to make a really big day bed. The puffer chair, relatively comfortable, and you can see it sort of fixes down to the floor, so you're not having to worry about it. As per usual with catamarans in the Saloon sole, you have 1, 2 and 2 more small storage bins there, and your stainless steel fridges and freezer. So they've got this one set up as a mains fridge. I should imagine they're all fridge, and obviously you can have fridge, freezer, or 2 freezers and 1 large fridge. There is a lot of space. I like, design wise, it's really nice. I like the fact that they have these overhead cupboards and rounded corners. So even if you bash your head, this isn't ideal. This isn't ideal here, but obviously if you bash your head or bang it, you know, you're not going to hurt yourself. So pretty big cupboards. I do apologise, camera's not brilliant today. I'm having a look around as I'm taking you guys around. Fusion stereo, little hidey cupboard down in here. There's plenty of space. What I'm going to do is show you the guest hull. So if you had the 4-cabin option, both hulls would be the same as this. Let's take you down this side first, and we'll do the forward. Before we go forward, I'll show you the electrical panel in here. So easy access to electrics. If you can have a look up there, see bulkheads. Well, I'm not going to enter that discussion. As you can see, and everything's pretty self-explanatory and easy to get to services in there. And then forward, you have your forward guest double. It's a very large double. As you can see, it's at both extents of the hull, and unlike a lot of the catamarans with the internal lining, I don't know if you can see that, you start to see the angle of the cut in, and then obviously it's a lot more pronounced as it gets to the water line to give you faster hulls. That's quite a handy cupboard. Got one like that in the kitchen specifically for baguettes. Being we are in France. Et voila. And there is a drawer underneath. Like most catamarans, being that this is 40 plus feet, both cabins have their own heads and separate shower. It's a pretty big space, hot and cold, fresh water with an opening hatch. There is no opening hatch in the toilet. The lights are pretty good, and you have a fresh water heads, plenty of storage, and storage in the mirror. And I don't know if they've got a port light in this one. In the lagoon, no, they haven't. That's a shame. On the 51 we were on the cupboard, you could slide over it, and one of them actually had a window in it. There is an option for air conditioning. I think I would take it, and if you had a water maker, your water maker would actually be set up underneath here in the aft hull. So you have a large double, nearly queen size, full island, pretty much full island aft berth, plug and USB charging down there where you need it, which is really, really good. You can see the bulkhead supports aft here, so you're able to keep an eye on that. a really nice port light window with opening hatch, and another aft, that's the aft facing window that opens, and you have another hatch up here for ventilation. We all know it's important when you're in the warmer climates. Plenty of shelving, more shelving, and then in here once again you have an electric flush, fresh water, obviously your sink, and your own ensuite shower. I think it's pretty good for the price point. I assume the emergency, yeah it is. So you have an emergency hatch under here, and then over on the starboard side, unlike the lagoon, everywhere you go on here there's places to grab hold of, and you know when I did that delivery, once again if you haven't seen it I'll leave a link to it up above. The safety of that boat was terrible. So something XS are doing, which is modular, which I think is absolutely brilliant. You have your aft owner's suite, VIP cabin. Once again you have opening hatch, and another one in the port light. Very large bed. It's lovely. Hanging locker and shelves. Once again you have a privacy door. Pull the camera further back. There we go. We can keep the public out for a minute. There is, when they say on a lot of the others there's a workbench, there is a very large workbench and vanity on here. They've put a poof there. You could have a large computer table and storage underneath. It is absolutely, now you'll see with the mirror I'll walk across how big it is. Actually a very practical space, and USB charging, mains plug, light switch, opening hatch. I think it's set up as a vanity, but as a workspace I wouldn't mind it, and storage underneath. Okay, I'm going to open the privacy door to give us a bit more light. Once again you got access to services and bulkheads here, which is handy. And then forward, normally on these catamarans all this is bathroom. So on the interior hull you have your own owner's sink with storage, and storage behind, obviously behind the mirror. We'll get to the shower in a second, but they've done this so you can actually have it set up. There are sections to go in here. They're not on the boat as they're at the, you know, the boat show, but there are sections on here. So if you want to make it a double for guests or for your kids, or you want to have 2 single bunks, you can. Or, which I think is brilliant, they're starting to realise that more and more of us want workshops in our boats. So there are extra bits that they install on here, and to make this for a full workshop, for storage, for spare parts, to have a vice in, you know, and the list goes on, which I think, you know, I think they're trying to understand us as sailors and people that are cruising and going on extended cruising need different things from our boats. Let me know what you think in the comments below. But you know, I think they're trying. And then obviously you have a separate shower with ventilation and an electric freshwater flush toilet and some very noisy out here where it's a little bit quieter. Let me know what you think. If there's anything that I've missed on this boat or you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. Sometime, I'm not sure when, we're going to do a factory visit, so if there's any questions you want me to ask or particularly film when we're at the factory, because it's only an hour down the road from me, please let me know in the comments below. Once again, there's no point me going around filming stuff if you don't tell me what you actually want. And then sometime next year in the spring we'll do a sea trial with them, whether it's with this or their smaller boat. I know they have one coming out that's in between the two sizes of boats that they have here. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video, and we'll see you on the next one. Cheers.